record your face, then you can just come off camera at this time. I know many of us have already used Zoom and you're very familiar. We do ask you, I think a key thing would be to mute yourselves when you're not speaking, just to cut back on any background noise. We have a small enough group that you're welcome to have your webcams on tonight if you feel so comfortable. And as I'm sure many of you know, you can access the participant list and chat with fellow attendees, et cetera. You are already got the hang of that in the chat box. Next slide, Vanessa. We will just ask that you can use a variety of different ways. The chat box, there's various reactions where you can show your agreement with what's happening. And then finally, I think our last little housekeeping slide is that you have the option to switch your view where you can see both a gallery view or a speaker view, and just whatever is most comfortable for you and your in the display. So with that, we actually have a very special guest this evening, Jake, who according to Jake Baskin loves tacos any time of the year. But we're very excited to have Jake here with us tonight. Jake Baskin, Executive Director for CSTA. As we all know, this is Computer Science Education Week. I'm rocking my t-shirt here. If you haven't gotten yours, it's a beautiful, beautiful design this year. But Jake just asked if he could come and share a little bit about CS Education Week. So Jake, feel free to take the floor.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks so much, Melissa. And hey, everyone, it's so great to see a bunch of familiar faces and some new names in the chat. I really wanted to just quickly join and say happy CS Ed Week to everyone. We at CSTA are really thrilled to be taking long-term ownership of the event and so lucky to have partners like CS for All Teachers to really help thinking about how we can expand the event beyond the Hour of Code. So excited that you all are here tonight. Please check out all of the resources and events that are available at csedweek.org. We'd love to have you at events throughout the week. And most importantly, love to have you working with your students this week and throughout the year and thinking about how we can incorporate social justice in our CS classroom. So wonderful to see you all, and have a great evening.
All right, thank you so much, Jake. And I am super excited to kick us off. We get to start off our Hour of Code 2020 with CS Ed Week. And so super excited. So welcome everyone. But before we get started, I wanted to just kind of give you a general gist of who I am. My name is Vanessa Jones. I am a CS for All Teachers Ambassador, and I'm from Austin, Texas. And in Austin, Texas, I work as an instructional technology design coach. And my passion and my involvement in computer science all started out with Code.org. I attended this Code.org summit, and that made me become an advocate of computer science, and it expanded to my passion for computer science. And I am actually a trainer, a facilitator for CS Fundamentals and CS Discoveries. And I've had the opportunity to work with the K-12 CS framework, as well as work with Jake on the Hour of Code Advisory Committee. And most importantly, I'm addicted to cruises and my fur babies. And last year, it doesn't seem like last year, it seems about 5 years ago, but last year in 2019, I had 5 minutes or 5 seconds of fame on 60 Minutes because 60 Minutes did a little feature, and Code.org was there, and the feature was on computer science. So I'm excited to be here with you. And I'm going to have the opportunity to introduce the other presenters later on. But before we're going to get started, I want to do just a little background to see your knowledge with computer science and the Hour of Code. And I'm going to give you voice and choice. I'm going to give you the opportunity to respond to my questions, and you can either use the reactions that Melissa told you about. You can physically give me a thumbs up, thumbs down. You can even do thumbs in the middle, or you could actually use the chat. Give me a thumbs up or raise your hand if you have participated in the Hour of Code before. Okay, most of you have, and some of you haven't. I love those thumbs in the middle too. Okay, next question. let me know raise your hand or thumbs up, thumbs down, if you have gone beyond the hour of code, meaning you are now implementing computer science in your classroom right now. Thumbs up, thumbs down. I don't know what computer science is. I'm in the middle, thumbs down. Okay, perfect, awesome. And then last question, this is actually a trivia question, and I want you to post your answers in the chat. I want you to see who knows, it's a two-part answer. I want you to see if you know when the first hour of code was first done. I want you to tell me the year and the month. The first time the hour of code was introduced, and go ahead and use the chat for that. Drum roll, please. We're going to see if we have a winner. All right, some good guesses. And all right, we had several people that said December 2013. If you said December 2013, go ahead and give us a cyber high five because you got that answer correct. So awesome. So what we're going to do right now, I'm going to show you two short videos. The first video just gives you a general gist of what the hour of code is all about. And then the second video features our theme this year, which is CS for Good. And I'm going to show you both videos. They're really short, but they're going to be back to back. And then also too, because you know how Zoom works, give me a thumbs up if you can actually hear the audio when I play it.
Okay, now you're gonna press run. This is so cool!
Hour of Code.
The Hour of Code. Todos lo pueden hacer.
Ya programi a code. Man, 42 gaat code.
Your teacher says you guys are into it.
We are. It's very awesome.
Students around the world had an hour of code today. It's part of a global movement to show kids what it takes to create the programs and apps they spend so much time using.
The largest education events in history.
Organizers set what they called an ambitious goal of reaching 10 million students this week. Almost 15 million signed up.
This week, I'm proud to join the students, teachers, businesses, and nonprofit organizations taking new steps to support computer science in America's schools.
You guys are already getting a head start on taking over the world.
I got it. They've been so excited about it.
Oh my gosh, it's working. I did it right.
They don't even have to be a computer science engineer. Maybe they want to do something else. But in our world, this is going to be the basis for everything that we do.
Move. Semicolon.
Look what I did.
It's so beautiful.
When you're building a program, you have to think outside of the box.
If you can change technology, you can change the world.
I challenge girls in every single country to learn 1 hour of code.
Every district should do, every district can do it.
Please help us get the hour of code to every school and every classroom and every child.
And my school's doing it.
Okay, so there's several different videos to introduce the hour of code, but I really, really like this one. I just kind of get all hyped, and when I hear that music and see those students in that video, I was actually like that little student, all excited when I was first introduced to the hour of code. The next one is, again, giving you a general gist of Coding for Good, our theme for this year. It's another short video.
The world has some big problems.
But I'm little, what can I do?
Even when problems seem big, we can tackle them one step at a time.
Our generation can help make a more prosperous, equitable, and sustainable world.
I'm learning to code.
I'm designing apps that solve local problems.
I'm programming robots. I'm learning computer science to make change happen.
Because with technology, we can build robots to clean the world's oceans.
We can program drones to detect forest fires quickly.
We can empower young women with digital skills and tools.
We can program mobile apps to streamline farming in poor rural areas.
We can use gene sequencing to diagnose diseases.
And create personalized medicine to cure them.
I'm little, but don't look at my size.
Look at my potential.
I can make change happen.
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 love that video too. All of the videos are so just awesome and just get you all pumped to actually get started. So with that said, we're about to get started, but we're gonna work in breakout rooms, and tonight you get to see presentations from resources from the code.org, from Microbits and Scratch, and Code Monkey. And we're gonna actually break into breakout rooms. And the reason why we're gonna do breakout rooms is to give you that opportunity to kind of have more of that personalized learning and that sandbox time. And we're going to do breakout rooms a little differently. What we're going to do is, and we're calling these breakout room snacks because you're not going to have a lot of time in the breakout rooms. Each breakout room is going to be about 12 minutes. And so you're going to have 3 breakout rooms, and Melissa's going to push you into 3 breakout rooms. And then we're going to have the facilitators rotate. So you will actually stay in your breakout room the whole entire time. You'll get a little broadcast message that says you have 1 more minute. And so you guys as guests, you will stay put, and then the facilitators will rotate. So you'll have the opportunity to see all 4 presentations. And the greatest thing about this is that we are going to record these sessions and post them, so you'll have access to it. So if you missed something or didn't understand something, you'll still have access to that. So just remember, they are snacks, and they'll actually probably go by really quickly. What we're going to do before we do that, I want to take the time to introduce our facilitators to you. First, we have Miss Susan. Say hello, Susan.
Good evening, everyone. I am in digital age learning at Education Service Center Region 20 in San Antonio, Texas. I'm a former classroom teacher, district instructional technology specialist, and a K-8 facilitator for code.org. Great to be with you tonight.
Thank you, Susan. Next, we have Hal.
Hi, everyone. I'm Hal Speed. I'm a global CS education advocate. And then Ryan and my session will be going over the microbit, as well as lots of different software options, Scratch, MakeCode, Python, and a new classroom learning tool for virtual learning.
Thank you, Hal. And then we have Ryan.
Hi, everyone. My name is Ryan Torby. I am finishing up this year my PhD in STEM education at the University of Texas. I lead the CS for Texas initiative in Texas to expand computer science across K-12 schools in the state, and I'm a former K-8 technology teacher. That's me.
Thank you, Ryan. And then we have Lena.
Hi, my name is Lena Saleh, and I am the Professional Development and Sales Director for Code Monkey. I am a former K-8 STEM educator, helped implement STEM education in Colorado, actually before moving to Texas. And I was a code.org trainer way back in the very beginning when it first started. And I have been with Code Monkey for really almost 3 years now. And I do everything from social media to working with our districts and training teachers.
Right. Thank you, Lena. And so what we're going to do is we are getting ready to go into breakout rooms. We're going to have 3 different breakout rooms, and we will have the opportunity for the facilitators to rotate. Each section is about 12 minutes. You'll get that 1 minute warning. Remember, you're going to stay put, and the facilitators, presenters will rotate, and then we'll come back and we'll close it out. During that time, they'll do a brief little introduction of their application, and then you'll have some sandbox time to work on different things, and then we'll rotate, and you'll have that for each section. And Melissa, we are ready. And also too, in case you get kicked out, because we know that sometimes internet connections can be bad. If you get kicked out, no worries. We'll help you get back. Just come back to that main room and we'll help you get back into your breakout rooms. So I think we're ready.
Awesome. When I click the button here in just a moment, a box should come up if you've not seen this before, and it'll just tell you to accept the invitation into a breakout room. And as Vanessa said, you stay put. Our presenters will rotate, but we'll see you back here in about 36 minutes. Have fun, everyone. Enjoy your snacks. And
We still waiting on about 20 people.
I have a question that I was trying to ask in the room, but we kind of ran out of time. Can I ask her?
Do you want to give maybe about 20 seconds so everyone can come back? Sure. I think everybody may be back, right, Melissa? I think everybody is back. I want to try to model not talking when people are coming back, because people always think they're missing out on stuff. So yes, Adam, please ask your question.
So I was trying to ask in text, but I guess it didn't come off that well. I'm doing code.org with my kindergartners. I've done it in the past with my kindergartners. What I wanted to know is, let's say I taught lesson A in kindergarten, and 2 years later, and the kids are now in second grade, and I want to continue doing code.org. I just like I'm trying to figure out whether it makes sense to do it, because it's basically they're based off the same thing. It's just that instead of having the pictures, have like move forward instead of the arrows. So I don't know if like I kind of feel like they may find it a little redundant. What would be, that's what I meant by like, what is the progression if you're doing it throughout elementary school?
Thanks for re-asking that question, Adam, because I didn't understand what you were saying earlier. Yeah, there is some redundancy, but it's getting a little bit deeper every year in the curriculum. So I really would judge it based upon your knowledge of your students. And if you know them and know that their skills are pretty high, code.org isn't the only thing out there, right? That's when it's time to move into Scratch and to move into some of the other, the Code Monkeys and some of the other great resources that are available. Code.org doesn't have to be the only game in town. You could do maybe the Express course and kind of probe to see how their knowledge really is. But I would say when you start to look at 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade, the curriculum is a lot deeper, and code.org has made a lot of changes in the curriculum in the last 2 years to try to differentiate more between the grade levels.
Thank you, Susan. And we can totally follow up too with you, Adam. I'm going to actually share something in a little bit with you, but great question. Thank you so much for asking that. We're going to quickly close out. When I was in the rooms, I saw a lot of questions being answered, asked. I saw a lot of processing happening, great ideas and sharing of information. In the chat, I want you just to quickly, we're only going to take about maybe 20 seconds to do this. Go ahead and type any aha moments or any aha things that came up, things that you didn't know about, things that you thought were surprising, anything that made you go, So about 20 seconds to process that and put that in the chat. Thank you. Exciting about microbits, mini coding sites, Code Monkey. Okay, awesome. A whole gamut of different things. Awesome, awesome. Okay. So what we're going to do now is I'm just going to put, if someone can actually post this link in our chat, this is just a follow-up. I'm going to ask, let's see, this is just a follow-up thread. And so you had the opportunity to listen to the different presentations and the different presenters, learn about the different applications. And so we have a follow-up thread that's listed on CS for All Teachers. And this is the link, and thank you, Ryan, for putting that in the chat. And so we're doing a roll call, and the roll call is that we have like a Google map. You're going to put where you're actually doing the hour of code, and you're going to put your name. And then this is going to be where we are going to house some of the resources. We're going to post the slides and the presentations that you just heard, along with the recordings. We're going to have that posted in several different places. But if you have not joined our CS for All Teachers community, we would love to have you join. And then one final thing before we just kind of close it out, I want you to go to Word Answer Garden. We're going to actually post that in the chat real quickly. And I want you to type in 3 words to describe your experience with this webinar, with this Code.org webinar. And so if somebody can actually post, let's see, I think I can post it here. Okay, thank you, Susan. And so if you guys click on that, and I'm going to actually stop sharing for a little bit so we could actually see. I know we're running about a couple of minutes behind, but if we can just do this, then we go to Answer Garden. And there's 3 words to describe your experience so far. And you'll have access to this. We won't close it. And so if you don't get a chance to type in there, no worries. And we'll take a screenshot of this and actually add it in our follow-up thread. Okay, so as you continue to do that, I'm going to turn over everything to Melissa, and she's going to close it out for us.
Thank you all so much for joining us this evening. Like Vanessa said, I know we're running a few minutes over, but I did want to make sure that you all saw this first message, and I'll post it in the chat box here. Each year we do a CS for All Teachers photo contest, and you simply can join by posting on Twitter or Instagram a photo of how you're celebrating with your students using the hashtag CSEdWeek 2020 photos. We go in, we have a fun but tough job of our team selects 15 semifinalists, and then we have a open to the popular vote to select a finalist. We do daily random winners of a $50 Amazon gift card, and then the grand prize is a $500 gift card for you to use in your classroom. So we hope that you will get creative. I know for some of you it may require that if you're not face-to-face with your kids. Oh, awesome, Jason, you're a daily random winner. I love it. So we hope that you will take advantage of that. And as Vanessa mentioned, it is a free open community if you have not yet signed up to become a member. And we do have an upcoming webinar as well on December the 16th, when it is going to be one of Vanessa's colleagues who's going to do a session around using Agile as a tool in your CS classroom. So I will put that, just a moment, put that link as well where you can sign up to get registered. And for those that have asked, we will be adding the recordings. It may take us a bit as we have to splice some things together because we had the breakout sessions, but we will put that on our posting on our calendar on CS for All Teachers. So give us a few days and then you can go back and access that recording. So with that, I want to say thank you, and we so appreciate all of you joining and hope that you have an amazing rest of your CS Education Week. So thank you all and good night.
Yeah, and I want to give a special thanks to all the presenters. They all did an awesome job, so thank you.
Also share my screen with you. And we will get started. All right, so I'm here to talk all about taking full advantage of Code.org resources. I'm going to make some assumptions that you've heard of Code.org, but just in case, it is a nonprofit organization. That's super important for everyone to understand. Its mission is to bring computer science to every school, and especially to increase participation by women and underrepresented students. They produce over 100 hours of online curriculum. All of their curriculum is free of charge, unlimited student accounts, unlimited teacher classrooms. And they partner with school districts throughout the country. They're a computer science PD partner for about 180 of the largest school districts in the US. And of course, they've been one of the organizers of the Hour of Code campaign. which has engaged just an amazing number of students. So over 50 million students and 1 million teachers are on code.org, and what we're most excited about is the representation between high needs students in high needs schools, our title campuses. 50% represent underrepresented racial and ethnic groups, 45% female students on code.org. And over 100,000 K-12 teachers have come to some type of code.org professional learning program. We have programs for the elementary curriculum as well as middle school and high school. In terms of a global impact, 15% of all students in the world have accounts on code.org, which is kind of amazing. And most importantly, when we look at all of the code.org curriculum and the Hour of Code tutorials are available in over 45 languages. So very accessible. So if you've got newcomer students, they're going to be able to find hopefully their native language. If you're in a bilingual or dual language classroom, you will have support for whatever your students want to do. So some people think computer science is all about technology, but really what attracted me to it is it's about logic, problem solving, and creativity. And code.org's goals in designing activities for students are that they involve creativity, collaboration, communication, persistence, and problem solving. And if you've ever seen a student engaged, you know how well they accomplish those goals. So code.org's vision is that every child in every school should have the opportunity to be exposed to computer science. Since I'm sharing the slide presentation with you, I just wanted to put in some screenshots of how to change the language. When you're inside code.org and you see the Run box on the left-hand side of the page, there will be a language box option at the bottom. Click on it, choose your language, and you can go back and forth between languages at any time. This is an example of one level of the artist in Spanish. So beyond the Hour of Code, code.org has their full-blown curriculum, elementary, middle, and high school curriculum. There are also self-guided videos with lectures. There's a teacher dashboard, so if you get a teacher account on code.org, you can see the lesson plans, create student accounts, monitor student progress, all of that great thing. And in addition to the Hour of Code website, there is a website called Beyond the Hour of Code, and I'm going to share all those links with you in a minute so that in your exploration time, you can go check it out. So the Beyond Hour of Code website includes information for students to look for local classes. Now, probably not a lot going on right now with COVID, but there are online resources for follow-up once you've completed the Hour of Code on all different types of categories for different levels of students. So I wanted to make sure you knew that there is a Beyond the Hour of Code website that code.org maintains. Elementary curriculum, unlimited classes, students and no charge. There are courses for grades K through 5, and it's a mixture of unplugged and plugged in activities. What's available for your district? Free training for K-5 teachers, and will be a link to sign up for the elementary training, most of which is being done virtually at this point. There is summer training for middle school and high school teachers. Those are week-long trainings with school year support, and there is a charge for those, but there is often scholarship money available. And then there is free access to computer science and algebra and computer science and science. And then, of course, everything, all of the curriculum in code.org is free. So as we go on, you probably know, but in the very first week of Hour of Code, the very first year in 2013, before we had the explosive growth we've had then, more girls participated in computer science in that 1 week than had in the previous 70 years. So I just love that. All right, so here are the activities that you're going to be able to do in your breakout room, and I'm going to stick these in the chat room for you so that you can kind of pick and choose what you would like to do. You can go to the Code Studio website and you can explore the Create button. So let me show you. Let me hit escape from here. So if you go to studio.code.org and you look in the upper right, there is a Create button, which has the ability to use the Sprite Lab, Artist, App Lab, Game Lab, and Dance Party. That's one of your options. You can go to the Hour of Code Beyond the Hour of Code website that I showed you a second ago. You can also go to a filtered list of activities that are just from code.org. So rather than going to the entire hourofcode.com website, which is wonderful, but a little bit overwhelming because there are so many activities on it, do know that there is a filtered list, and this is all in a Google Doc. So you can actually share that link with students and assign it, or have the links to assign specific activities. So what I'd like you to do is take the next couple of minutes to explore one of these resources, throw questions in the chat room, and I'll be here for you.
And remember, if you have any questions, you can put those in the chat.
Yes, Adam, absolutely. So the kindergarten, what you would really want to do with kindergarten, if you're looking for an hour of code activity with kindergarten, I would probably start with Angry Birds or go in and look at course A in the full-blown curriculum, which has the sequence of computer science concepts similar to what's done in older grades, but it's much more visually appropriate for early readers or non-readers. Another thing to know about at all the levels of code.org right now is that they have implemented the use of immersive reader. So if you are in an hour of code activity or you're in the code.org curriculum and your students are not yet readers, make sure they know to look in the upper right-hand side for the little play button, which will read aloud to them or have the opportunity to go to immersive reader. Okay, we have 1 minute left, so I want to go back and make sure that I get the presentation shared with you, and know that you do have my contact information in the presentation. That's great that you're doing Course A. That's the best thing to do with kindergarten. There's also a pre-reader express course, but Course A is going to be much more robust for you. So there are additional resources on building a foundation for computer science if you're interested in, but the link to this presentation is going into the chat room now because I am getting ready to move on into another room. So just know that when you open this Google slideshow, you can go to File, make a copy, and have your own private copy of the entire presentation, or you can simply stay linked to my live version. Oh, how you could use code.org in 3rd or 4th graders. Well, with 3rd and 4th graders, You would use, so A is for kinder, B is for first grade, course C is for second grade, so on and so forth. So if you go to the courses tab on code.org, you can have access to any grade level of that elementary curriculum.
Yeah.
And then feel free to email me after today if you have more questions.
No, okay.
Okay.
All right, sorry.
Great, no problem. I just don't want to mess up the timing of everything. So I believe I am to move right now, Vanessa. Am I correct on my timing there? I don't
Yes,
want to
go ahead.
overstay my
Remember
welcome.
to stop your recording and remove.
Make sure we're recording here. Okay, everybody, welcome. Thanks so much for joining us this evening. And it's pretty informal, so if you have questions along the way, just feel free to ask me anything that you have along the way. So we'll go ahead and get started just so you guys have some time to play with everything and kind of explore. So as you heard in my little bite-sized piece, I am the professional development manager at CodeMonkey. You can follow us on any of our social medias. We try to be as active as we can. We do have a CodeMonkey Superfans group, and then we do have a blog where we try to write about, extending computer science across multiple disciplines and just some different tools and resources to use as well. So I'll tell you a little bit about what CodeMonkey is. So CodeMonkey was founded in 2014. It was founded by two brothers and their best friend. And so they had worked with children and just found that they don't really learn in the way that we would like them to learn in those traditional languages. They can be very challenging, very hard. So they came up with the concept of CodeMonkey, a gamified coding platform. And so today we have about 20 million users worldwide. And it's really an engaging curriculum for K through 8 students. So what makes CodeMonkey different is that CodeMonkey is really just, it's fun, it's engaging, it's intuitive, it's user-friendly, really want to put you in the driver's seat, and it's easy to roll out. And Javier, I see, is here as well. He's one of our teacher ambassadors as well. We just got so lucky and got put in this room with us today. So it's also easy to roll out as well. Let me just pop out our chat box here just in case anyone has questions. Hey, Javier. So I just wanted to start off with that and just tell a little bit about what CodeMonkey is. And in the chat box, or you guys can, kind of tell me however informally, it's nice to kind of know where everyone is from, what you're teaching. I know you shared out in the other group, but it's also good to kind of get an idea. So I don't even know where the chat is on here. It's not even showing. So it's cool.
I want to apologize. We have in Chicago, we have another session that I have to be in.
Oh, you're fine. That's fine. No problem.
Hopefully that'll end or be too boring and then I'll come back. But I have
no problem. I'm glad you took the time to join us.
So how do we get, oh, they'll leave. Okay.
Yeah, you'll just leave the room and it will kick you out. Yeah, no problem. Okay, so I just wanted to talk about just a little bit about preparing for the hour of code. So for us specifically, we have things like certificates and just kind of making sure that you're testing it out and using it beforehand. And then if you want to create any login IDs for any students, it's always important. I can't tell you the amount of times that I've done hour of code activities and the program doesn't work or my internet connection isn't great. So just kind of having those backup plans are always pretty important. So even if you're doing a virtual or in person, I'm sure you guys are already well versed in this, but just really making sure that you're planning, plan. There's nothing more that I can say about that. And then just doing some different kinds of rotation. So whether you're doing breakout rooms like we're doing here today, where you're kind of having the kids shuffle around and doing different activities, or even doing some unplugged activities. I know everyone is plugged in this remote virtual world that we live in. But it is nice to be able to do some different things, like maybe they create something through Nearpod, or they create a slide deck on walking you through how to do different exercises and activities. Maybe you're using Flipgrid and you're having them work at home with their family on creating their own unplugged activities. So those are always pretty important. So now getting into the gist of this, does everyone, I really don't know. I can't see the chat here, but does everybody have, oh, okay, good. I can see it now. It's just hidden behind here. Does anybody have any experience with CodeMonkey before? Is this your first time? or heard of it before? Oh, it's nice we have a mixture of people from all over. Okay, good. So first time. For some of you might be versed. Okay, great. So I'm gonna kind of show you some of the courses that we have and kind of how it's a little bit different from some of the other courses that we've used before. So that you might have used. So we have everything from K all the way through 8. So we have our CodeMonkey Junior course, which we have here, which might be a little bit small for you to see, but I'll give you some time that we're gonna explore. That's why I'm try to run through this fast so you guys can have some time to play with everything, because I think that's the most important. So CodeMonkey Junior is really a pre-reader kindergarten. It's really, it's app-based. It's the only one that we have that it's available on the app. And then we have our Beaver Achiever, which is also a block-based course, and Doda does math, which brings in fundamentals for our hour of code. It does multiplication, distances, and angle measurement. And then we have a game builder, which is about like event-driven programming. And we use a language called CoffeeScript, and CoffeeScript is a short version of JavaScript and Python, just without all the curly brackets and syntax and all of that good stuff. And then Coding Adventure was our very first course to CodeMonkey, and that is also CoffeeScript. And then we have Moonlander, which is a physics-based course. It's really for the older students. It's about thrust and acceleration. And then our newest course that we just released this year is our Space Adventure, and it's also CoffeeScript, but the students will work to collect bananas through space. And then Banana Tales is Python, as well as the Trivia Chatbot. So I wanted to give you a rundown of how that works. So how can you even find us for the Hour of Code? Well, you can go to our CodeMonkey webpage, which is codemonkey.com /hour-of-code, which I'm also going to put it here in the box. Or if you forget and later on you're like, ooh, I can't remember how to get there, you can go to code.org, thehourofcode.com, and when you click on Try It, all of the activities from all the basically computer ed tech companies that are there are listed here on the created by. So you can go to the created by, and then you can go ahead and find us. We're CodeMonkey Studios. And here you can sort either by grade level or by beginner or comfortable. Beginner courses are the ones that don't require any previous experience. I do say that if students are going to do the Doda Does Math course to get exposure to CoffeeScript, I do suggest you do the Coding Adventure first, and then the comfortable is going to be a little bit more advanced. So our Trivia Chatbot, our Moonlander course, which I do say is more so on the 8th, 9th grade level because you're working on thrust and acceleration, and then our Game Builder. So they're all there for you, and whichever way you decide to go, we have all of the Hour of Code courses on our page listed here as well, and it will tell you exactly what the grade levels are. And when you click on a specific course, it will also have you start playing, so the students don't have to create accounts. We do have a teacher trial if you want to sign up for that. It gives you 100 students, 30 days, 30 days, and then it gives you all of the Hour of Code access and things like that. And then in this itself, there are some teacher notes. And so in the teacher notes, it will go over things like, what will you see in the course? What are the specifics? How many exercises? There's certificates that are here for you that you can print out with your students, or automate it using something like Autocrat or something like that. So that was very fast and very furious. So I put this link in here right now for you for www.codemonkey.com /hour-of-code. So I'd like for you guys to all go there with me. And then based on the grade level that you teach, I would just say select a course that seems the most interesting to you, that kind of speaks to you. Like for me, I'm really excited about our new course and I haven't played it much. So I'm going to do our Space Adventure here, and then you'll just start playing. What's unique about CodeMonkey, which you won't really experience during this Hour of Code time, you will a bit, is Gordo is the teacher assistant for our older courses. There are automated, there is narration built in if you want. We also have many different languages, but what you'll notice is there's a story map for almost all of the courses. In an Hour of Code, the students have to move linearly. So if something happens and they lose their progress or something, they will have to kind of start over, but there's nothing wrong with, re-practicing those skills. But in our courses itself, everything they have to move scaffolded. So as much as I love code.org, I absolutely do. Sometimes the students can get to concepts before they're ready. So that's just something to kind of keep in mind. So in our space adventure, I'll go ahead and play that. And so you'll see the buttons down here type out for students because this is CoffeeScript. We have the stage, everything will kind of type out. Whatever object you hover over that has white text will also do that. So I'll give you guys a few minutes to just kind of play, get some time, ask, and then we'll have some time for questions, or you can hop on, ask me any questions. Really, I just want you to have some exposure playing because I think that's the most fun part of everything. Oh, we have about 1 minute. Ooh, I wasn't as fast as I wanted to be. So I guess while you guys are kind of playing, does anyone have any questions or anything that I can help answer? Sherry, I like your background.
Specifically designed for CS Ed Week.
Yeah, it's great. It's smart. Okay, so only because I know I'm going to run out of quick time here. I have shared this on here. There's also some different unplugged activities from different places resources that I've shared. Barefoot computing is one of my favorite for unplugged activities, actually. And then just keep in mind, you can find us on our own website and find the Hour of Code, or you can find us on code.org. And if you guys have any questions at all, feel free to reach out to me. My contact information is on the slide deck as well. And I just thank you guys so much for sharing your time with us this evening. Okay, so we'll be transferring back. Bye, everybody. It's great meeting you all.
Our facilitator to come. Oh, here we are.
Me. Yeah,
Dina's here.
Stuck.
Yay.
So are you recording?
Right? No, you can record.
Okay. It says it's already recording in the cloud, so it must just be doing it by itself.
I'm not. Do you want to stop it and start it again? Oh, stop it, and then you can start it. Okay. Maybe Melissa. I'm not sure why it's still recording.
Yeah, I know. That's what the thing is. It's okay. Whatever. We'll just
we'll
roll with the punches here.
Yes.
Okay, everybody. Welcome. Let me just make sure I get my chat coming up here because earlier it wasn't. Okay, good. All right. So as you guys met me in the snack, my name is Lena Saleh, and I'm the sales PD manager at CodeMonkey. I really do a very small company, so I do a lot of roles and a lot of positions. But you guys can always follow us on all of our social media accounts. It's really CodeMonkey STU, so you can find us there. We're actually doing a live stream event on Wednesday with our founders, with students being able to ask the founders questions about how they got started into coding, and really just doing some live Q&A with students. So if you're interested in that, check us out on these social channels. We'll be live streaming to YouTube, actually. So just a little bit about CodeMonkey. CodeMonkey was founded in 2014 by two brothers and their best friend. And they basically were computer science programmers, really realized that kids don't really learn the same way that adults do, obviously, being computer programmers. And so then when they turned the programming into a gamified game using CodeMonkey, they really noticed that the students were engaged and they were excited about learning. And so that's kind of how CodeMonkey was born. We do have about 20 million users worldwide, so just something to keep in mind. Something that makes CodeMonkey different from a lot of other programs is that it's really easy, it's gamified, it's pretty user-friendly, intuitive, and we really try to give teachers and students a place in the driver's seat, really, so that it's really easy to roll out and everyone's feeling comfortable no matter your experience level of coding. I'm just going to skip that. So we're going to go ahead and just kind of explore some of the courses. I don't know how much experience any of you guys have with CodeMonkey, which is totally fine. So we are, like I mentioned, K-8. So we have things from CodeMonkey Junior is our app. We do have an app for this. It is block-based, really about computational thinking. Then we have our Beaver Achiever, which is a block-based course, really designed for grades 1, 2. And our Dodo Does Math is a supplemental kind of course, and it is in CoffeeScript. And oh, good, awesome, Adam. So the kids in Dodo Does Math, they do different concepts: adding, subtracting, angle measurement, multiplication, using coding concepts. And then we have our Coding Adventure course, which is also CoffeeScript. That was the first course that was ever born from CodeMonkey. Then Game Builder, which is event-driven programming, where they work through game fundamentals. And then we have Moonlander, which is really for the older grades. It's about thrust and acceleration and really science heavy. And then we have Space Adventure, which is our newest course. It's really designed for most students. I would say 1 through 8. And then Banana Tales and Trivia Chatbot are both our Python courses. So let's talk about how you find us. So you can find us, we were playing there, so let's go back here. If you go to codemonkey.com/hour of code, so I'll just pop that here because we're going to play with this. I'm going to be faster, hopefully, than the last time. So there's the page there. And when you get to the Hour of Code course, I'll just kind of walk you through a little bit of things. So CodeMonkey is different in that it's very, we want the students to move through the concepts linearly, so they don't skip around and learn something before they're ready. However, for the Hour Code's a little bit different. That's really open free play, but if you want to sign up for a teacher trial, you can do that as well. There's tracking, there's lots of features in there as well. But on this page here, let's say I want to do the Dodo Does Math course. I click on the Dodo Does Math course. It's going to tell me the concepts. There's even a fun video to introduce it. And then there's some teacher resources here. So in the teacher resources, and we have this for all of the courses, there it tells you the specs, like what you need to set it up, who it's for, what concepts they're going to be learning, and then what kind of prep you need. So there's also certificates here and just different concepts like that. So that's one way that you can find us. And the next way is if you go to hourofcode.com and you do /learn, it will take you here to this page. You click on try it, and then you can sort by all of the edtech companies that are here. We have that. You can sort by beginning, comfortable, and then the grade levels, the drill there. Basically it takes you back to this page so the students can begin playing. So now I want to give you guys some time to basically play, ask me any questions. I know it's always fast and furious. It's just a bite. So here on the Hour of Code, you can either sign up for a free trial or you click on the course, whichever course you would like to, and then you just go ahead and click start playing. So I'd like for everyone to, with that link I just shared with you, go ahead and choose a course that you think fits best for you and your students. And I would say just go ahead and play. Something to keep in mind here, as with any Hour of Code thing, this isn't going to save the students' progress. So the students, if something happens, their computer goes down, it will have them start over. We have students move through, like I mentioned, scaffolded. So they're not moving around to learn a concept before they're ready. So just keep that in mind in your back pocket. Besides that, happy coding. And I'm here for questions. So Adam, your kids were doing Beaver Achiever today. How did it go with them?
I had set up a page for Hour of Code for my kids, and they loved it, my kindergartners.
Oh, great. Yeah.
So it was awesome. Very simple, very easy for them to use. We didn't go into like detail, like right. Loops and stuff like that. They were just basically putting in the up, down, left, and right, and I forget what it's called, but to put it in there.
Mm-hmm.
To drop
putting
the log.
it in the script, yeah.
Yeah.
Tell them build this dam up.
Yeah, but they loved it.
Oh, good.
They loved it.
Does anyone have any questions? Anything I can help answer?
So is this free for both the student and the teacher, or is there a cost?
So for the hour of code, it's free for both students and teachers. We do have a teacher trial, and then that we just recently upped that. So it's 100 students and it's for 30 days, and it'll give you access basically to tracking and everything for the hour, for basically all of the hour of code courses that we have. But we are a paid subscription.
Okay. Thank you.
Good question. Yeah, of course. So quiet.
They're actively working.
Yeah.
Intense.
What are the common challenges I experience in integrating this in the lesson? Do you mean, what do you mean? Is that from this question? Or is this from the main group? No, it's from here. Is it from here?
From this. Yeah, it's from this group.
Okay. Can you tell me, Cecile, a little bit more what you mean?
You're muted if you're talking, Cecilia.
So I'll just answer what I hope you think, what I guess I hope you are asking. So some of the common challenges, I guess, with integrating, I hope you mean by an hour of code or just integrating this in general. I think a lot of times it's just the fear of starting coding. I think is a lot of time what hinders people from either the challenges based on that. And then a lot of times teachers will panic because they don't know the answer and their students will ask them and they don't know where to go for, maybe the answer. So in CodeMonkey specifically, we do have some places like solutions that are there for you that kind of will give you a little bit of runway. So when your students do ask you a question, you can either figure it out together by viewing the solution, or there's some other like resources and things that are built into the platform. But I would just say that's probably the biggest challenge when integrating any kind of coding into lesson is just the fear of trying. So I hope that answered your question. Does anyone else have any questions, concerns, wonderings?
We have about 1 more minute work time.
Okay, great. It's nice to see so many people from so many different places. Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing because we are at the end there. So I just want to thank you guys so much. I guess I just want to share this last bit. So in my slide deck as well, because I have taught in the classroom as well. That will be on the resources that are shared with you. I do have some unplugged activities that I recommend sharing out. Barefoot computing is one of my favorite for unplugged. And I know a lot of times people think you can't do plugged in when you're doing remote style. But you can actually by doing some Flipgrid or integrating Nearpod or creating their own presentation. So I just shared that with you guys as well. And I just want to thank you guys so much for taking your time out of your night to share that with us and be able to explore a little bit. If you guys have any questions, my contact information is on the slide as well. But as always, write code, catch bananas, and save the world. See you guys next time. Bye.
Thank you, Lena.
Hey, we're just on time.
Yeah, and I'm late, so hold on.
No worries. Although I said we, Hal isn't even in the room yet. He is the slide deck.
Yeah. And it's a continuous recording.
All right. Hello, everybody. All right. So I hope I'm in the right place. You never know, right? Just kidding. Okay, so I am, if you might have saw me there in the bite-sized snack at the beginning, just a little bit about me. So my name is Lena Sale. I'm the Professional Development Manager at CodeMonkey. Do a little bit of sales as well. Really, I do a lot of things because our company is quite small. So really a catch-all. That's what it's probably a better name for myself. But anyway, I'm really glad that we're spending this little bit of time with each other this evening. If you have questions, it's really informal. So please just ask me, stop me, anything like that. Okay, so CodeMonkey, you can follow us on all of our social media channels. We do have a blog that integrates some different coding concepts. Sometimes we introduce some unplugged activities, just different things to kind of create more value for you as well. So we do have that. It's CodeMonkey STU if you want to follow us, which you'll see here at the bottom. Just a quick little thing about CodeMonkey. CodeMonkey began in 2014. Two brothers and their best friends, all computer programmers, started to teach programming to young kids in the same way that they learn how to computer program, and realized very, very, very quickly that young kids do not learn how to code and cannot really understand those coding concepts. So that's how CodeMonkey was born. They decided when they started to turn it into more of a fun, gamified way, the students just grasp it better, and they began to use a program or a coding language called CoffeeScript. And CoffeeScript is just a short version of basically JavaScript or Python. There's no curly brackets, or just making it easier for students to really understand the coding concepts and principles rather than getting so bogged down by the code. So what makes CodeMonkey different is that it's really easy to use. It's very gamified, which you guys will see. I'll try to be as fast as I can so you guys have some time to play here. It's really easy to roll out. And if you guys decide to sign up for a teacher trial, you'll see the resources are there and some really great features that you can utilize to, if you don't know the answer, because I think common thing with being able to, with learning how to code or having your students learn how to code is we're just not coders unless you really came from that world. And so a lot of times you can reach frustration level when your students ask you for help and you're just like, ugh, I don't know. So we try to build in some tools for you that you don't have to phone a friend, or the kids can actually come to you and you have some answers in your back pocket. So that's what we hope to do. I'm going to skip over this part. So we're going to go ahead and explore some of the courses. So CodeMonkey does have now 9 hour of code courses ranging all the way from kindergarten all the way to 8th grade. So we start off with CodeMonkey Junior, which is a block-based course. It is the only one that has an app to go with it. Beaver Achiever is also block-based. They help the beaver build his dam. There's different stories that he kind of goes through. Dodo Does Math is a supplemental course, like coding course. It integrates concepts utilizing CoffeeScript, distances, angles, multiplication, having Dodo help collect his eggs. Game Builder is exactly what it is, Game Builder. They learn how to do the game design principle or game design concepts to be able to really understand how to code a game, not just create it visually, but also code it. And then Moonlander is really for like the older grades, like 7, 8, 9. It's really about physics and has thrust and acceleration. And then Coding Adventure was our first course we ever had to Code Monkey. Space Adventure is our newest course. You help the monkey collect bananas in space and get to a spaceship. And then Banana Tales and Trivia Chatbot are both Python. So how you get to us is I will, let me just go back here and put this in the chat box for you. Somebody who's so fast and furious, faster than I've ever done presentations. And I've been doing them all day today. So, with this hour of code, you'll see all of the courses are here. It'll tell you exactly what language is used and then what grade levels they're for. When you click on any of these courses specifically, you'll see the students can start playing here. You can sign up for a trial if you want. There is a trailer for each one of them, and then you can start playing. There's also these access notes, which I think are fun because they have certificates. And even though you're not, a lot of us are not in person, students still love certificates, doesn't matter. So the certificates are here. You can download them, put them in something like Autocrat, have them enter their names, and it will send it right out to them. So there's some prep there for you and just some different things to think about, because as much as we like to say we're as planned as possible during the hour of code, things always go down. So it's always good to just have a contingency plan in place and what happens to prep for this. So that is the outline of our courses. You can also find us, I forgot to say this, on hourofcode.com. When you go to it and you click on try it, on the left-hand side when it says created by, you can find all of the edtech companies that make anything related to coding. And you just click on Code Monkey Studios and it will bring you up. We have our beginner and comfortable courses. They take you back to this page, so just so you know. Okay, so now I want you guys to have a chance to kind of play, explore, ask me any questions that you have, any concerns, wonderings, any of that kind of thing. So in that hour of code link that I sent to you guys in the chat box, it will take you to the main page that has all of our hour of code courses. And then I would like for you to just click on one and decide to play. Just keep in mind those other ones are Python. So if you're not a Pythoner, it's always best to go with something that you feel a little bit more comfortable with. And just also something to keep in mind when students log in with a regular account, everything that we have is scaffolded. So we don't like the students to learn concepts before they're ready. So when they log out from doing the hour of code and they go back to doing the hour of code, their progress will not be saved if they didn't log in. So that's just something I like for you to keep in mind too, because we all know what happens. Somebody's like, help, and you just know that's what happened. So, so yeah, that's that. So I'll let you guys play. And then if you guys have questions, that's what I'm here for. And I have my sounds turned off, but I'm sure if you're beginning to play, you'll notice that there are lots of sounds. So just a warning before you get started. And these stars that pop up are stars that appear on the progress page of the teacher side if you are in the dashboard within our page itself. Does anyone have any questions or wonderings?
I do, Lena.
Okay.
Are the directions read to students, or is there a way for the directions to be read to the students?
For a specific course or for all of them?
I'm in the game builder and it has a lot of directions.
Yeah, it does have a lot of directions. Yeah, it's very text heavy. That one does not specifically have narration built into it. The Coding Adventure does. That one has a narration feature, and I'm almost sure that the Banana Tales does as well. But I do know the Coding Adventure does, and we do have different languages as well.
Cool, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Ooh, Joe, good question. So Joe said if students say are in 7th grade, have no coding experience, you probably don't want to start with text programming. What block-based unit would be a suggested starting point? Actually, I would suggest starting with the text-based. I actually would start with Coding Adventure because how Coding Adventure, I'll just go into it so you can see. So Coding Adventure does start off, even though it's text-based, it does start off pretty basic, especially the first 30. They're very, very basic for students because it is the hour of code. We want to get them hooked. That's really what it's designed for. But as Coding Adventure progresses through, it does go much more advanced in concept. So each world within this map is a different coding concept, building, and complexity. So I would actually start, I wouldn't start with block-based. I actually would start with text-based right away. As you see, challenge 0 is pretty self-explanatory here. They're just kind of running. But what's nice about this specifically, I wish I could skip around here and show you, but basically what happens is that the tips are scaffolded as they go through. So if they're on a specific one and they get stuck, come on. If they're on a specific one and they get stuck, then they will have tips that will simulate. So I definitely would start with the text-based coding for them, even if they don't have experience. But that is a great question. And you'll see if I just hit run, this says step 10, but if I hit run and I just debug this, it says now step 15 instead of stepping 10. And we also can pick up the ruler, measure the distance as well. Later, this will do angle measurement. And so I actually was working with a school district whose students had never programmed until 7th grade, and they used this and they finished the course and they were all of them were super jazzed. So it was nice to see them blossom. And it will also give you a tip if you didn't do that, so you can do that. So I just want to thank you guys so much. Where everyone's going to be heading back to this main breakout room. My contact information is on the main slide deck, but if you guys have any questions or concerns or wonderings or any of that kind of stuff, please do not hesitate to reach out. And as always, remember to write code, catch bananas, and save the world. And we'll see you guys next time.
Okay. Go ahead, Ryan.
All right, so this is the Microbit Scratch and Make Code Classroom Tool session. My name's Ryan Torby, and this is Hal Speed running the slide deck. Hal's gonna speak a little bit about the Microbit, and then I am going to dive into Scratch and some of the extensions that we can use just in general, and then with the Microbit. And then Hal's gonna finish it off by talking about Make Code and Classroom Tool. We'll be pasting in some links so that you can kind of go and do some of this exploration on your own time once we get done with this and tonight. All right, go for it, Hal.
All right, so first I just wanted to cover the Microbit hardware, and then we're going to spend the majority of the session talking about various software and different learning tools available. So for those of you that aren't familiar, the Microbit is a little pocket-sized computer board that includes 25 LEDs, a couple of buttons, motion sensors, light sensors, a compass, as well as there's a recently announced edition of the Microbit that adds an onboard speaker and an onboard microphone. So both boards, the previous version and the latest version, are exactly the same size. They're got the same software compatibility. And even if you wanted to use a microphone in the speaker, that's available on the earlier version. You just need to use the edge connector to hook up an external speaker to be able to use that. But the new one that will be hitting stores any day now have those two features built in. And then also you might notice the little logo at the very top is now a capacitive touch sensor. So it adds an additional input in addition to the buttons and the edge connector. So that's it on the hardware. And Ryan's going to start off by talking about Scratch, and then we'll kind of scaffold up from Scratch to Make Code and other versions of the software that work.
Yeah. So yeah, let's dive into Scratch. I'm going to share my screen. Here we go. All right, so if you're unfamiliar, this is Scratch. This is beyond the hour of code. So you may have in your classrooms have done an hour of code with Scratch. If you're unfamiliar with Scratch, a great way to learn about it is to go to scratch.mit.edu. You click Get Started or Create, and then they have great tutorials to go through that will walk you through some of the basics. This is going to be a little bit beyond the basics because instead of just using the normal blocks, we're going to be using the extension blocks. So the first extension block that we're going to utilize is going to be the translate block. And how you get to the extension blocks, you click this little folder down here, and you can add in a new set of blocks. And this one just happens to be translate. So the first project, you can paste in link 1, how? Into the chat. And the first project that I want to go through is just a super simple one called Translator Toucan. And what Translator Toucan does is it asks the user, what would you like to translate into? And this one does Spanish, in Spanish. And then it will say the answer in Spanish. So if I click the green flag here, it asks me that question, and then I can say, hi, how are you? And it will translate it for me. Kids love this. This is a really neat extension that was released in Scratch 3.0. This wasn't available in the past versions of Scratch. And this is just a very, very simple program that can make translation. You can just change the language here and change the language here to really translate into all sorts of things. But scaffolding or going up on top of this, also in the extension blocks is the microbit integration. So what does this look like with microbit integration? If you would paste in link 2, how? You can click C inside of that link, and here's a microbit integration with that Translator Toucan concept. Now, the microbit with Scratch, it basically, it serves as either an input or an output device. You can have it light up the LED, or you can have these 2 buttons do something in Scratch. For this one, I'm using the A button to select Spanish and the B button to select French. And in order to get the microbit to connect, there are a few steps you have to do. I already have mine basically connected, but Hal, if you paste in link 3, that link will give you instructions on how to connect a microbit to Scratch. So if I run the green flag here, basically A, if I pushed A, it would be Spanish, or B would be French. And I pushed B, so I can say, hi, how are you? And it will hopefully translate into French. So that's some examples of how you can use and go beyond the hour of code with Scratch, and then actually use the microbit in a way that you use it as either an input device, which we just did, but you can also do output devices if you use these display blocks here. And I'll pass it back to Hal, and he'll go over some of the other platforms that you can use the microbit in.
And it's also worth noting, I know MIT's been updating this over the past few months. Originally, the support was only there for Windows and Mac, but now Scratch does support extensions with Chrome OS using Chromebooks and the Android app. So for Chromebooks, the Chromebook does have to be somewhat new and be able to support the Android apps, but that's another way that you can now use Chrome OS with the app extensions, or the Scratch extensions. So am I sharing?
Nope, need to take it back.
So as Ryan mentioned, programming the microbit with Scratch is a little bit of a different paradigm than some of the other software that's available. So think of Scratch more as the microbit is interfacing in the Scratch world. And so you're really programming Scratch with the microbit and using the microbit more as an input-output device or almost like a remote control. But then the other software, Microsoft MakeCode, is a block-based programming as well as a text-based programming for JavaScript. And one of the really nice things about that is it gives the students the ability to toggle back and forth between blocks and text. It's not just showing the JavaScript text, but it actually allows a student to toggle into a full JavaScript editor. If they ever get stuck, they can always revert back to blocks and aid in that transition between blocks to text-based programming. Another good feature of Microsoft MakeCode is that there is a built-in simulator. So even if you don't have microbits in the classroom, or maybe you don't have a one-to-one distribution, every student can still program in MakeCode, run their program on their screen using the built-in simulator, and then maybe share some microbits to get that actual hardware experience to download it to the device. As students then progress, there is a full-blown Python editor that is text-based. That's compatible with other Python editors that's available. And then almost everything that I'm talking about today is on the microbit.org website. If you're not aware, the Microbit Educational Foundation is a not-for-profit. So as much as possible, they try to make their resources freely available, free for download, free for translation, etc. So there are different resource categories on the website. So again, thinking of beyond the hour of code, there are some hour tutorials on the CS Education website and the Hour of Code website, but there are numerous built-in tutorials into the MakeCode editor, or if you go to microbit.org, I'm getting the 1 minute notice. My clock says we've got 3 minutes. Okay.
1 minute, Hal.
We'll speed up then.
Round.
So again, all of that is on the website, lessons, projects. I do want to highlight one thing at the end there about Do Your Bit. So the Sustainable Development Goals from the United Nations, the Microbit Foundation has created lessons that are aligned with some of those Sustainable Development Goals. So that's a great way to integrate coding for good and programming with the microbit. And then the last thing I wanted to mention, was Microbit Classroom. Ryan, there's a link in the notes for this. This is a relatively new tool that works both in the physical classroom, but it's a great way in this virtual classroom period for teachers to be able to set up a virtual classroom hosted over the internet via web browsers. So it's totally free and works with both Microsoft MakeCode and Python and allows the teacher to push out code to the students, allows the teacher to virtually look over the shoulder of the student and see individual students' work. And then the students can actually submit their projects for grading, and it bundles it up nicely for the teacher to have in one spot to go through and review. So the link is there in the chat. You can also go just to howspeed.com. We'll take you there, as well as the QR code. So any quick questions?
We have a question in the chat. What grade do you suggest introducing microbit?
Typically around 8 years old, 7 or 8 year old. So 4th grade plus or minus. Of course, it's going to depend on the level of the student and the comfort of the teacher. I will say there's a new robot coming called the BirdBrain French 2 that will now allow programming for pre-readers. So it's icon-based programming, kind of that Scratch Junior style, the left to right icon-based programming. And so with something like this, I think you could start earlier, but using Scratch, if you're comfortable introducing students to Scratch, then I don't see any reason why not
All right, it is time to move. So sorry to cut you off, Hal, but we will be going to another room. If you are a participant here, how are you? Hi, so today it's myself, Ryan Torby, and Hal Speed, and we'll be talking about the microbit. I'll be going over some integrations with Scratch, and Hal will be talking about just the microbit in general, and then diving into some of the integrations with MakeCode, that's from Microsoft, and then the classroom, microbit classroom it's called, right?
Yes.
Great. You want to share your slides, Hal, and we'll get rolling?
All right, so first just want to start real briefly with the hardware. For those of you who may not be familiar, microbit is a little small board computer that is purposely designed for education. So it's designed to be easy to use in the classroom as a learning tool for computer science. It's got 25 LEDs, a couple of buttons, and a handful of sensors, like a motion sensor. There's a new version that adds an onboard speaker and microphone. But don't worry, all of the existing microbits that are out there are still compatible with the lessons and the software editors. And even if you have one of the existing microbits, you can always add an external speaker and microphone to still get the same functionality. The newer one just integrates those to make classroom management a little bit easier. And so Ryan's going to start off talking about how we can use Scratch, and then we'll go into a couple of more options.
All right. Yep, so this is about, you know, going beyond the hour of code. So when I was planning this, I was thinking, you know, if you have done an hour of code with your students, what would be some of the next steps you'd want to take? Scratch is a great next step. If you aren't familiar with Scratch, Scratch is a drag and drop programming language designed by MIT. You can go to scratch.mit.edu, and we'll paste some links in the chat also for some of the projects that I share today. But you can go there, and if you hit create or start, you can get some great tutorials and just learn the basics of Scratch. Today, we'll be focusing on extension blocks because that's kind of the over and above piece of you know, what's happening with the new Scratch, which was released about 1.5 years ago, or maybe it was 2. So if you look, we're going to show a integration with the microbit, then also an integration with the translate block. So to add new extensions, which are new categories of blocks, you click add extension, and then you can click this, and those blocks will be available to you. So the first one, Hal, if you can paste in link 1, this is a translator toucan project, which is a very, very simple set of code that makes the toucan translate into a different language. So we're using an extension block here, the translate block, and basically this program, the toucan asks, what would you like to translate into Spanish? And the user can type, and it will translate into Spanish. Students really, really like this. They really gravitate towards just the power of computers, especially when they can choose, you know, all of these different languages, and you just literally change this here, that word, and then what language you want. Now, integrating this with microbit is a little bit more complicated, but it's really, really neat what you can do. So when you have a microbit with Scratch, it's basically used as an input or an output device with Scratch. As an output device, it can actually, Scratch can display on the LEDs. But for this one, and Hal, if you can paste in link 2, this one is using the microbit as an input device. So we have 2 buttons on the microbit, an A button and a B button. And in this program, the toucan's going to translate in Spanish if you hit the A button, or French if you do the B button. And I'm going to click B right now on the microbit, and it says, what would you like to translate into French? Hi, how are you? And in order to have this work, you actually need to connect the microbit to Scratch. My microbit is already connected, but if you have a microbit or get a microbit, you can pretty easily connect it to Scratch. And Hal, if you could share the link with the instructions for them to connect it. Both of these programs, since you have them in the chat, you can save them to your account or just bookmark them, and then you can basically remix them, which means it takes it into your account and you can play around with it and then share it with students. Great programs and kind of a great start that goes beyond the hour of code. I'm going to pass it off to Hal now, who will talk about Make Code and some of the other things that you can do with the microbit.
All right, just sharing my screen. So as Ryan mentioned, Scratch is a great place to start. And one of the questions that we've had before is, can you use Scratch and Microbit on Chromebooks? And I'm happy to report the answer to that is now yes. So Windows, Mac, as well as Chromebooks. The Chromebooks do have to support Android apps. You download a specific Scratch app, Android app onto the Chromebook, but that enables the Chromebooks to use external extensions. So that's good news. And then from there, one of the best editors is Microsoft Make Code, which uses blocks as well as JavaScript programming and allows students to make a seamless migration and transition from blocks to text and be able to toggle back and forth until they feel comfortable with JavaScript. Another great thing about Make Code is that it has a built-in simulator. So even if you don't have microbits for every student can still get online. This is a free software, web-based editor that every student can get on at school or at home, program, and then run their program in the simulator. And then as they advance, they can move on to JavaScript. And there's also a dedicated Python text editor. It does not include a simulator. If you go to microbit.org, there's a wealth of resources available to go beyond the hour of code, anywhere from full course lessons to individual tutorials and projects. I do want to highlight, since this year's theme is around CS for Good, the Microbit Foundation has collaborated with the United Nations around the Sustainable Development Goals and has created some great resources to connect the global goals for sustainable development to programming, and programming specifically with the microbit. So I'd encourage you to take a look at those. And then lastly, there's a relatively new tool called the Microbit Classroom tool. It can be used in the physical classroom as well as in today's virtual classroom environment. It's totally free, has no student logins, no teacher logins, so we don't track any type of student data. And it enables the teacher to set up a classroom and then have the students join that virtually via web browser, and then push out starter code to the students. The teacher can virtually look over the shoulder of the students to see how they're progressing on the assignment. And then the students can turn in their work via the classroom tool, and then the teacher gets that all in one file for grading. Again, it works in a browser, cross-platform, and it's free. Ryan just pasted the link in, but you can also go to housespeed.com or click that QR code. And there's a step-by-step guide for how to set up your virtual classroom and use the tool. And with that, we'll open it up for additional questions that anyone may have. You can go off mute, or if you feel more comfortable putting it into the chat.
Where I can find more lessons like you showed us tonight, like where I can find more lessons? Go to the Scratch, maybe?
So that third link that Ryan talked about with Scratch, There are some lessons and some Scratch coding cards on that site, but for the microbit specifically, I'd really encourage you to just go to the microbit.org website. And then there are 3 different categories of tutorials and projects and full-blown lesson plans. So depending on how much time you want to spend and at what different level, they've really got a resource that will have you covered. Good question.
All right, thank you.
Yep.
And by any
I
chance,
pasted in.
how much is the cost, the new microbit?
The new one is about the same price as the old one. So I think they're around $17, $17, $18 for the one with the battery pack and the USB cable.
Are the old ones on fire sale?
Possibly. If the resellers have them, they may want to be getting rid of them. So.
Great.
But they're both very similar. Like I said, the newer one just adds the onboard speaker and microphone.
And honestly, with Scratch integration, that's probably minimal.
Yeah, for Scratch, there's no difference. So the behavior, and maybe that's worth noting as well, that Scratch uses microbit, as Ryan said, more as a remote control kind of device. So you're actually programming Scratch with the microbit versus things like MakeCode and Python, you're programming the microbit directly. And so you have access to a lot more features and much more robust functionality, both in the editors and in the hardware.
So yep, and just like the rotation last time, participants, you're staying here, and the presenters, we're doing the rotating.
Yeah, and there was a question about the presentations. Yes, the presentations, I think CS for All Teachers will make the presentations available, and they will have all the links in them.
Great. All right, I think we are going to rotate. Does that sound about right? Cool. All right, thank you all.
Continuous recording, so we're going to have to splice it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So welcome everyone. Today it's going to be Hal, Speed, and myself, and we're going to be talking about microbit, Scratch, and everything in between as far as the things you can do with microbit outside of Scratch too, like MakeCode and the classroom tool that is now part of microbit. So Hal's going to start off by explaining the microbit a little bit, just in case you're unfamiliar with it. I'm going to dive into Scratch with some projects, and I'll share the links with you for those. And then Hal's going to finish it off by chatting more about what you can do with the microbit.
So real quick, for those that may not be familiar, the microbit hardware device is a small board computer purposely designed for computer science education for kids from 8 to 14, but you really can go on up through high school and college. It's got 25 LEDs, a couple of buttons, and a handful of other sensors like a motion sensor, a compass, a light sensor. And there's a new version that adds an additional onboard speaker and microphone, as well as at the top, there's a little capacitive touch logo that enables one more input for kids to be able to touch and use that as an event handler. But both devices are the same size, same kind of general I/O feature set, works across all the different resources and software that we're going to talk about today. So with that, let's go ahead and get started with Scratch.
So we'll dive into Scratch right now. Scratch is a drag and drop programming language designed by MIT. It's now in version 3, which was released about, I think, a year and a half ago. Scratch is great, and the purpose of this presentation is going beyond the hour of code. If you've only done the hour of code activities, I think Scratch would be a fantastic jumping off point because it is a lot more of a sandbox for students to explore. If you have never done Scratch as a teacher, you can go to scratch.mit.edu. And once you get started, you can click on this tutorial button, and there's great tutorials that are super easy to follow for you to learn the basics. Today will be a little bit beyond the basics. We're going to talk about adding some new block categories, which is a feature of Scratch 3.0. And those are called extensions, and I'll share with you a few projects that you can do. One is just a translator project, and the other integrates the microbit with it. So to add extensions, you would go down to Add Extensions, and there are all sorts of different things that Scratch now integrates with, which is really exciting. Microbit is one of them, but for today, we're going to start off our project by using the translate blocks. So Hal, if you could paste in link number 1, that'll get you to this page, and you can click See Inside. This is a very, very simple program that is the Translator Toucan program. And basically what happens here is when the green flag is clicked, the toucan is going to ask what we would like to translate into Spanish. And then I have code here using the translate block that's saying whatever I'm writing in, it's going to say that in Spanish. So we're going to test that out now. What would you like to translate into Spanish? Hi, how are you? Kids really love this, especially with the power of just being able to toggle to a different language very, very quickly. And you change this word, or you could even just have it say, what would you like to translate? And they can literally translate into 100 plus languages. Really, really neat and really, really empowering to just show the kind of the power of computer science with just such a small program. Now, to integrate this with microbit, we'll actually use a different extension block, the microbit extension block, in conjunction with the translate block. And Hal, if you can paste in that next link, that will be the translator toucan with microbit integration. With the microbit, basically how it interfaces with Scratch is it's really just an input-output device to Scratch. You have 2 buttons here, and you can use them in Scratch. And then to output, you actually have this LED screen. And the LEDs can be lit up if you go down to the microbit blocks. You can use this display, and it would shine up a heart or whatever the kids want it to. For this, we're using the input devices, or it as an input device. So it would be the A button and the B button. And the translator toucan, if I put the A button, would translate into Spanish, or the B button would translate into French. So if I start this program, push the B button, right? Hi, how are you? It would then say it in French. Both these programs, you can remix yourself. So because you have the links, you can add them into your own portfolio in Scratch, your own folder, and play around with them and share them with students. They're great programs to get started with, especially if you're right at that level of beyond the hour of code. Really, really neat. With the microbit, you actually have to take a few steps to attach it to Scratch. Mine is already attached to Scratch. But Hal's gonna paste in the link for that and the instructions. In general, it's pretty easy. And it's definitely a really neat physical computing device to integrate with Scratch. I'll pass it off to Hal, and he'll talk a little bit more about things outside of Scratch.
Yeah, Brian, before you shut that down, there was a question about where is the extension button? So in the bottom left-hand corner.
Yes, so here's the menu of blocks. Am I sharing again? Yes.
Yes.
Here's the menu of blocks, and then the extension button is this folder button right down at the very bottom. And you can just click on an extension. Great. All right.
Okay. So pretty much everything that I'm going to talk about is on microbit.org. For those of you that may not know, Microbit Educational Foundation is a not-for-profit So as much as possible, all of their resources are free and readily available. The goal is really to help kids learn and not to try to make a lot of money selling hardware and software. So one of the questions that we've had in another group was around Scratch, of course, works on Windows and Mac machines, but recently they've added support for Scratch and extensions on Chrome OS. So the Chromebooks need to be able to support the Android app, but that's news that maybe not everyone's familiar with, that they can add the Android app to use Scratch and the extensions on Chromebooks. So after Scratch, we're going to talk about Microsoft MakeCode, which is a full-blown hardware editor for the microbit. It gives you full access to all the features and capabilities of the device. And unlike Scratch, where you're still kind of programming in Scratch, in MakeCode and in Python, you're writing software directly to the hardware device. So the kids get to learn that interaction between hardware and software. A couple of nice things about MakeCode: obviously it's free and browser-based, but it has a nice toggle ability to translate between blocks and JavaScript and back and forth. So as the kids are learning text-based programming, it's an easy way to make that migration. And then it also has a built-in simulator. So even if you don't have microbits for every student, or maybe no physical microbits at all, the students can still do their programming on their screen and run their code in the editor in the simulator. I use this as a great teaching point of even in real life software development, you test your code before you go to production. And so it's a quick way to test to see if the code's working. And then there's also a Python editor beyond that for more advanced students. I do want to highlight the Do Your Bit lesson plans. So because we're talking about CS for Good as far as this year's theme for the Hour of Code, there's some great resources that the Microbit Foundation has that are aligned to the UN Sustainable Development Goals using computer science and physical computing. And all those are available on microbit.org, including some additional explanations about the Sustainable Development Goals, which is another great teaching opportunity for this time of year. And then lastly, there's a relatively new tool called Microbit Classroom that can be used in the physical classroom as well as in a virtual classroom that allows the teacher to set up the class. Doesn't require student IDs or student logins. And the teacher can push out starter code to the students. The teacher can see the individual work of a student, so kind of virtually looking over the shoulder, which is a great capability during this home learning environment. And then the students can submit their work to the teacher when they're ready to turn it in for grading, and then also give an assessment of how they enjoyed the project. So Ryan just shared the link in the chat, but you can also go to howspeed.com or follow the QR code there. And there's a lot more information and step-by-step guide about how to set up Classroom and how to use it. It's really straightforward, it's free, it's browser-based. Really a useful tool, and it works with both MakeCode and Python. So any questions before we head back to the general session? You can unmute or maybe just put it in the chat. We've got 50 seconds.
What do you do with the microbits now that we're virtual? Is there any way to do it virtually?
Yeah, so go to that Microbit Classroom link, and that is the greatest thing I can recommend for virtual right now. Even if the kids don't have the hardware at home, you can still do the lessons, you can still do the computational thinking, you can still have them run in the simulator, and you as the teacher can still manage remotely.
That's true.
In a fairly effective way.
Okay, and then I can even show once they run the code, run it and show them like Ryan did for us.
Yes, and so it does not have a built-in video conferencing tool. It assumes you have Google
Right.
Meet or Zoom or something else,
Right.
but it